How we doing, peeps? Kelly O'Neill here, aka Sgt Dawg, and today I bring to you Coach Jeff Collier. He's the head coach of the Cedartown wrestling team. Coach, how long have you been coaching wrestling?
Well, it's been a while. I started in 2007, as far as the school goes. My son wrestled prior to that, so I was always involved in wrestling from back in my day. But started in '07 here in Cedartown when myself and Coach Jerry Hartline started the Cedartown program back up from when it was shut down.
Started it back up. I didn't realize it had been shut down. I mean, but there's a lot of kids that have benefited from wrestling.
They shut it down in 1984, which was after my junior year, so I didn't get to wrestle my senior year. And so when I came to teaching, I knew Coach Hartline and knew he was a wrestler, and I asked where the program was. Didn't have one. Well, let's do it, and we done it. So.
Yeah, so you just started from scratch.
We did.
Had nothing, no kind of funding.
No match, no singlets, no funding, no nothing.
Grassroots. And you brought it to where it is now, and it's in pretty good shape now.
Yeah, I mean, that's been, what, 15 years ago?
Yeah, so. Well, yeah. Well, how many years did it take, to get it to where you were actually, you felt like you had a program going?
Pretty quick, really. I mean, the first year, I mean, we fielded all 14 weight classes and had, enough kids in the room to feel like we was making headway, and started the program, the middle school program as well. Always had kids in the middle school program, and didn't start making any noise as far as our region, whichever region we was in, or individuals to, 4, 5, 6 years later. But some of the kids we started with in '07 was the first 2 state champions in Cedartown history. So
really,
that's and Coach Cadero, as we call him around here, because he helps us out. Leo Cadero and Jordan Watkins. They were both state champions in 2012. Of course, I had moved on from that time, but I felt just a little bit that I had the opportunity to be able to coach them as well. So.
Well, I mean, you got the program started back up. So without you,
with Coach Hartline and myself, yes,
they may not have gotten that opportunity.
No, they wouldn't have. Not in the wrestling program here in Cedartown.
Yeah, because there was none.
There was none. You're right.
How did you actually become the head coach? Y'all just felt like you need to get it going again, and were you elected as head coach?
No, Coach Hartline was the head. He was the head. I assisted him at the varsity level, and of course, I'd done the middle school. It was just he and I. 2 coaches running the whole program. I ran the middle school, he ran the high school, and of course I helped him at the varsity level. And shortly into it, Coach Hartline had opportunity to go somewhere, and so I stepped in as the head then.
Okay.
That was back in, I'm not sure when it was. Jerry, forgive me, 2009, 2010. And then I went away, and he came back.
Really?
And so he hung in there for a little while, and then I came back in 18 and
2018. Where'd you go? Where'd you go to another school?
Well, I was at Darlington coaching football at the time. My son was wrestling there, and I wasn't teaching. I was just subbing, and of course I was out on the road in the business world. Went back to the business world, realized real quick like that. Although money was good, it wasn't what I wanted to do. It wasn't where my heart was. So then I came back, had the opportunity to come back to Cedartown, which I jumped at that. I knew that's where I belonged.
Yeah.
And so in 18 I came back, but I wasn't officially coaching wrestling in 2018.
Did they have a coach? Did they have a program?
Well, Coach Hartline had just left, and a young guy that had came out of the Darlington program when I was there, Sgt Jones, which is now the head coach at Adairsville, he applied here, and sitting down here in the field house one day talking to then Coach Doyle Kelly, the AD. I don't know how the conversation went. I wasn't there. It was in the summertime. But Coach DK calls me and said he had a young man down there and said he'd take the job if I'd help him. And Coach, it was a joke. I was like, no, I'm out of wrestling. I'm done. He said, Spencer Jones. And I was like, head dropped and said, because I knew Spencer from Darlington. I was like, yeah, I'll help him.
So you were done with wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, as far as coaching at school, yeah.
And you didn't
my son had graduated.
Oh, okay. So you didn't have any desire to coach again?
Well, I was always around a sport, but I was coaching football, and I was content with, giving my 100% on football and my 100% focus on football. And
Right.
As you know, you get older, you know.
Well, that takes a lot of time.
It does.
Well, any one sport will take a lot of time. You
Right.
put two in there, and
Right.
you know your family life will be.
And so, you know, Spencer comes on board, and you know we get to rolling, and you know the 3-year stint that Spencer was here, we Coach Jones, we were able to do some things that hadn't been done in Cedartown. Took our first dual team to the state championship, you know, and competed there, which was the first for Cedartown. Finally received or put a third state championship on the map individually with Adam Payton.
So Cedartown's had 3 state champions in the whole history of.
We'll make that 4.
4. Okay.
One of them a 2-timer, which is
that's
Adam.
Right. That's right.
He's going for his 3rd this year. And then last year we were fortunate enough. I pulled a young 8th grader out of a classroom, a female, back in 2 years ago, and she became Cedartown's first female
state wrestler,
state champion wrestler.
As a what grade?
She was a sophomore at the time.
Sophomore.
120-pound weight class.
Is she still wrestling?
She is. She's a junior this year.
Okay.
That was just last year she won it.
She'll be wrestling in the region tournament this Saturday? Good.
So there's been 4 state champions in Cedartown, and I've been fortunate and blessed and had the opportunity to be able to coach all 4 of them at some point in time.
With all of them?
Yeah. I've been associated with all of them.
That's something to hang your hat on, Coach.
I mean, I'm proud for them. I'm proud they had the opportunity to do something.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Looking for more. I mean, here we go again.
Right.
Going down that championship road now.
So we mentioned Adam Payton. He's won state the last 2 years in a row as a sophomore and a junior.
Yes, sir.
And he's shooting for it again this year.
Three-peat.
And
which is
rare. And I've seen him wrestle, I guess maybe 8-10 times this year, and I haven't seen anybody come close. I mean, he actually kind of, I'm not going to say plays with him, but he almost like he's practicing with him.
Well, yes and no, meaning every time he gets on the mat, we have an agenda.
Right.
It's to make him better. And some that don't have the experience or the yet to be talents to wrestle with him, then I mean, he gets the sweat on and works a couple of moves that maybe he don't get a chance to work, and
right.
And then goes ahead and takes care of business. But he's had some pretty good matches this year that's pushed him, that's helped him. And
there was one, and I believe it was that tournament that we went north, and was it Armurchie? No, wasn't Armurchie. There was another one about 3 weeks ago. Anyway, he won by points then.
Hey, I mean, there's a lot he wins by points.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a tech, but sometimes it's it's a 9-6 or a 9-4, something like that.
Right.
But,
right.
Bottom line is Adam drives himself. He's easy to coach. Of course, we're fortunate enough to have his brother, and I'll get to him here shortly. Coach Joey Payton, that was a wrestler himself, was very, very good at what he does. He's still young enough and agile enough to get out there and get wrestle with the guys and get after them pretty good. But Adam is easy to coach. He's got his own drive. Probably the hardest kid in the wrestling room I've ever coached. You don't have to tell him to go to work. When it's 3:15 and the buzzer goes off, he's up. He's pushing the team. Last one off the mat. Never slows down in practice. Probably the wettest one out there at the end of practice.
Yeah.
He's vocal. He's a different animal when he's on the mat. If he was coming here and sit down right now, you would have to press to get a conversation out of him.
Yeah. Well, he did pretty good in the interview, but in other cases,
he's a very humble guy. He's
a
very humble guy. I love him to death. I mean, I love his brother. I love his family, but
he's almost like having another coach too. Isn't
ain't
he?
no doubt.
I mean, I've seen him coaching up the other guys.
Well, stay tuned. There's plans there.
Yeah. Okay.
Stay tuned.
Well, we did talk about that a little bit. Bit. But I could see him being a great coach. But so you've talked about a little bit about your philosophy, but what did you bring? What's your approach to training and developing?
I'm an offensive mindset guy, and I don't know whether that comes from football or my background.
You're in the attack. You want to attack.
I want to set the tone. I want to wrestle my match. I want to, I want to be the aggressor. I want you defending what I'm throwing out, I want your mind on trying to figure out how to stop it versus, how to come get it.
Right.
So we work hard on our feet. We worked. My thing is, where's my next points? I'm not trying to stop you. Of course, there's a defense mechanism to everything, but I want to know where my next points are. So it's offense. It's good on our feet. Be aggressive. Attack it.
So do y'all study film of the other wrestlers?
We do. We video everything we do. I send that out where they have the link to it. They all have it on their phones. As soon as I download everything, they have their matches so they can go in there and critique it. Coach Peyton does a good job of when we start out on Mondays, coming back out of the weekend, we sit down. Okay, what did you do well? Where do you need to work on? Did you watch your films? So yeah, they have all their film, so they can critique it and we can critique it. If there's a very hard bug in the system, then we can fix that right off. And it's really just about repetition,
right.
Doing it right so many times that it just comes natural.
So I know, these kids, most of them need to be motivated, right? I mean, I know they're out here, they love it, but is there anything that you do to motivate your players, your wrestlers?
Well, I always say, first of all, you got to have passion for the sport. So you got to want to do it first.
Right.
If you're just doing this because your friends are doing it or to have something to do, there's not a lot coaching can do for you.
You got to have a little bit of fire.
You got
a little bit of
you got to have that. You got to have that go-to gear.
Right.
And so once you have that, I mean, if you want to wrestle, my motivational thing is it's really just it's the attitude and effort. You give me a good attitude. You put forth the best effort you can, and we're going to have success. It's that simple. The philosophies go back to that is mindset is number one. And there's a lot that goes into the mindset. And these young men and women, that's the toughest part is transitioning their mindset to be a positive, to be in the attack mode, to know where that switch is when they need it, to understand that losing is not a failure, that losing is a learning opportunity. And so there's a lot that goes into the mindset. But mindset, commitment, and then the A&E factor, as I call it, which is attitude and effort. We're going to be okay, but you got to want to do it.
That's right.
That's why
like you said, you got to have the desire. I mean, they're here because they want to be.
Well,
right?
A school with 1,200 kids, that's why you don't see 25 kids on the mat.
Wow.
A lot of people don't want to do this. A lot of work.
It's
mental. This is a disciplined game that will prepare you for life.
It's brutal.
It is, but I mean, life's brutal.
Oh, I know that, but I'm talking about physically.
It is.
Physically, they get into some contorted positions that I'm like, there's no way that I could make it through. Of course, I'm not.
Well, that's training your body as well. That's what practice is all
right.
about. We say it about every day. You're going to wrestle on the mat in competition exactly the way you practice.
Yeah.
And so if you've never been in those positions that practice, guess what's going to happen come mat time? Probably
you're gonna
quit
hurt
pretty quick. Yeah.
There's one thing I've noticed about all your wrestlers. There's no quit.
They're a scrappy bunch.
I've seen them get drugged across the mat, and they do not quit.
I've said this about this team here. We're predominantly freshmen. In our starting lineup, we have 9 freshmen, a sophomore, 3 juniors, and a senior. Adam being a senior. So if you take those 3 juniors away, 10 of the 14 weight class are freshmen. And then 1 sophomore.
Wow.
So we're a real
sophomore.
We're a real young group. But like you said, they have no quit. They're a scrappy bunch. Yeah. And if they all hang around, I ain't making predictions, but we'll be a lot better next year and the year after that than we are this year.
Well, they know y'all come to wrestle. Y'all come to win.
Well, about everywhere we go, the referees say, "Man, that's a scrappy bunch."
Yeah,
I've heard that a few times. So I guess we're scrappy,
It'll pay off. Yeah, with the young guys, it's going to pay off. It's going to help your program. But
seeing some success, even freshmen, because they don't start until they're in the 6th grade here. Now, some of them may have started. There's several little youth takedown clubs around here that they may have been involved in, but they don't start here in Cedartown until they're in 6th grade.
Middle school.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big disadvantage for us.
Yeah.
So, we're looking, I've been looking, but we're real close to having something develop on the youth program. But when you start as a sixth grader and you don't get a lot of time as sixth grader, in seventh, eighth you get some time, but in middle school you don't get 10 or 12, 15 matches and you're done. By the time they hit, the high school as a freshman, they still may not have wrestled 50 matches.
Really?
The opportunity of getting on the mat is up to them where they do USA or whatever, but they may come to me as a freshman and they don't have 50 live matches. So when I say the group I got out there right now is 9 freshmen and 1 sophomore, of course 3 junior and senior, to have no more experience than they do,
yeah,
they'll get after you behind pretty quick.
They make a showing, that's for sure. So are there any particular wrestling techniques that you, and I don't want to give any secrets away, but if you can give me some, what are some of the techniques that you teach the wrestlers?
Well, there's different style of wrestling out there, no doubt.
Yeah.
There's some names up this, that, and the other. But I'll just say, when I say we're good on our feet, we should be able to hit our shot when we want to hit it. Okay. Now, can we? Some of us can. But it's all about the setup, and we want to be able to get the first 2.
Right.
We want to start out quick.
So your first moves, I guess, are they just kind of set up? What? Never mind. We won't go into that.
The first round is what they call neutral. We're on our feet. Referee blows their hand, and so just trying to walk through it. You have to take them. Whoever takes who down gets first 2 points. And so that's why I say we want to be good on our feet. We want to be able to set you up to be able to whatever move we're going to put on you to take you down and get behind you and gain our 2-point takedown.
Right.
That's what we work on. That's key for us. Now, you talking about styles, there's a lot of different styles out there and the names that goes with it, but we incorporated a lot of different styles into our wrestling.
Yeah. Whatever works the best for the wrestler, I guess.
Well, everything is made up. If you go back to the 60s and 70s, or you can go back to the early 1900s. Wrestling's been around for a long time.
Right. Oh, yeah. Roman Greco, right?
So, different types of wrestling. So, what we do here, it's a combination of a lot of different things. Some people can hit a cradle, and some people can hit a fireman's carry, but the others can't. So whatever works for you.
Right.
And we say whatever you can do, let's fine tune it, let's hone it in, and make sure we can hit it when we need it. And that's work in progress.
So I know you talked about your freshmen. How much have you seen a lot of improvement? Have they over the season?
Again, I told you I'd go back to it. I'm gonna go ahead and hit on it right here. Coach Payton, which is Adam's older brother. I couldn't do it without him.
Yeah.
Because he's the instructor. Now, some days I just let him have it.
Right.
I'm sitting there telling you as the head coach, I'll walk in, I say, all right, let's get started. They know what to do as far as warming up. And then, of course, me and Coach Payton talk for a brief 35 minutes, as far as while they're warming up. Let's hit this, hit this, and this, and this, and this. And he handles it. And sometimes I don't even intervene.
Yeah.
Because he handles all of it. But most practices, he's out there instructing on the mat, and I'm, putting my 2 cents worth in and just walking around and kind of helping this, that, and the other. But and we have Coach Brandon Gordon, which is heading up the girls now. A lot of experience coming out of Chattooga County, where he went to school. Got Rodney Smith, which actually wrestled for me back in 2008, 2010. He's on board this year. Glad to have him. Got some youth. Got a new guy by the name of Brandon Mitchell. He's helping the middle school. Keith Murdoch's back at the middle school level as the head. Got good experience. We've incorporated some ladies this year as far as assistants, as far as our females. Coach Tara Kirkpatrick, and she was out part of the season for pregnancy, but she's going to be a good one. And actually, put it out there on the interview, we're looking for female assistants. So if you're interested in coaching wrestling, hit me up.
What's your number?
Yeah, I'll get that.
Yeah. So, dealing with teenagers, there's always going to be some kind of conflict or something you're going to have to deal with that doesn't have anything to do with wrestling, right?
Right.
How do you handle that?
I can honestly say there has not been anywhat of a serious issue. Now, I know I'll get critiqued for this, but a serious issue, conflict, in the 6 years that I've been here.
Really?
I think the kids, the wrestlers, I relate well to them because it starts out as a relationship just like teaching. They know who I am. I try to learn them as to who they are. I know what their buttons are to push and not to push.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they know what buttons they can push on me and what not to push. And I don't put up with that.
So there's a level of respect there.
I would say so. I mean, it's got to be. But, yeah, I mean, they
yeah.
know, and I have done this before, not on anything serious, but you're not wrestling today. Go home and take a break today.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Now, there's always, because it's a heated sport, there's always chirping and back and forth, but it never gets heated. And I'm not saying that it never will, but I think for the most part, knock on wood, they know I'm gonna deal with it quickly, and we're gonna move on. We're not gonna harp on it. We're gonna say what we got to say. We're gonna deal with the consequences. Life comes with consequences, and we're gonna move on.
Well, I think they learned that in this sport too.
They do.
That there are
Again,
consequences.
this sport is all about life, and I think we said this a while ago. This sport, and I'm a football guy as well. This sport is going to teach you more about life than what I say any other sport out there is going to teach you. You're going to get knocked down, and you're going to fail so much in this sport, but then you get to stand back up and you get to do it again.
I can see that.
Exactly right.
And I've seen a couple of your wrestlers look like that there's no way they're going to win this and come back. It's like they're looking for that opportunity. They can get drug across the mat. It don't matter. They're looking for that opportunity, and I've seen them. And that is really fun to watch.
You can be getting drug on the mat. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, if the guy's better than you, or the wrestler's better than you, then he's better than you. But if you keep fighting and you don't stop, who's to say you're not going to catch him in a mistake? Yeah. We all make mistakes. So if you catch him in a mistake, and like you said, it's happening a lot this year because as freshmen, we're usually the one making mistakes. But the more they learn out there, once the other wrestler makes a mistake and they can catch it, they've capitalized on it.
Right.
And that's why we don't quit.
That to me that's the funnest to watch is when you're like, this ain't looking good. And then before you know it, the next thing, he's on top.
You don't never know what you're gonna get out of this match right now. They're fun to watch.
I've really
we've had our L's as much as we've had our W's, but even in the L's, you never know what's gonna come out of these guys right here.
And you got plenty of characters on the team too, right?
Yeah, there's 25 different ones. Yeah, but there's several.
They all got their own personality.
There's several good ones.
And I've enjoyed watching them. But I mentioned a while ago, this is a brutal sport. What do you do to mitigate risk of injury? Because
we push the weight room. We've always, here in Cedartown, my philosophy and all the other guys that's come through before me and after me athletically, we believe that, the weight room and what we're saying, putting on that muscle mass or getting strong in the weight room is like a body armor. Mm-hmm. It protects you. Mm-hmm. So we're going to push the weight room. If you're an athlete in Cedartown, you've got weights at some point in time during the day. And if you don't, then you probably got such a heavy academic schedule that you can't, but then you're going to get a workout before or after school. So weights is the first thing. Ben Truitt is our athletic director here. He stays on top of everything. I mean, there ain't another one around as good as Ben. He's helped us tremendously. And then just taking care of your body, the scheduling of, how many hammer tournaments to put on the schedule. And I don't know if there's a number, but then how many what I call, not gimme tournaments, but how many lightweight tournaments are on the schedule.
Well, how do you classify those? When you say a hammer tournament, that means you got some tough competition.
We know who's there, and there's an agenda while we're going there because, some of, and I'm going to take Adam out of the mix because we've got to find him wrestling throughout the year to make him better. Right. But even as freshmen, there's, several out there that, pose those skills that, hey, he's going to be something. We got to push him. Mm-hmm. And so we'll try to find places that is going to have some pretty good wrestlers in that may even give him a loss.
Yeah, well,
to push him.
To get better, you got to play better, right?
So, but then you don't want to do that every week in and week out neither because then it starts taking a toll. And, if you go 0-32, then are you coming back next year? Probably not. So there's a balance to it.
Yeah.
So you got to know your wrestlers. You got to pay attention to their body, what their body's telling you. A lot of aches and L's. I mean, that's one thing, but when it's week in and week out and day in and day out,
wears on you.
Yeah, you start taking a break.
At the end of the season, you're pretty. Yeah.
Right, and then so we're right here. You're talking about the end of the season. It's time.
Yeah, I know.
We're right in the middle of the championship, so and we're pretty healthy.
Good.
We got a few nicks and bruises here and there, but we're as healthy as we can be this time of the year, so we feel pretty good about it.
So how many contenders do you think you have for state?
Well, obviously we know Adam. Honestly, I mean we feel good. I mean we think all of them should be.
So is it like this in this tournament? Whoever places 1 through 4, right?
Well, let's talk about Saturday. And it's same with the girls. They're wrestling on Friday. So you're going to go to your area, which is the girls. And there's a difference there this year. And then region for the guys. See, our region is 6 teams. 6 teams are in our region. There's only going to be 6 people in your bracket.
Wow.
You and 5 more.
Yeah.
Well, you just got to place top 4. So that sounds simple enough. Well, I got this, right? Well, the story ain't nobody telling you is the region we're in is one of the toughest regions in the state. If anybody knows anything about Central this year, I mean, Central's 2-time dual state champion. I mean, they got top to bottom hammers. So Norville, from the time I was back in school, has always had wrestling. Northwest, Heritage, Southeast has got a heck of. So if you go back to the dual period, I mean, we were number 6 out of 6. So, and that's just the region we're in. But we feel like individualized that we got 4, 5, or 6 of them that we're hoping 5 or 6 of them that we get out of our region. Because you're right, they don't have to place for top 4. And we also feel like if we get out of our region, there's a very good chance of getting out of sectionals and getting to go to Macon.
So when you say the top 4, you got how many different weight classes?
14.
There's 14. So it's not 4 out of each class. It's it is.
106, top 4, 106 is out of 6 teams. You get to go to sectionals.
Okay, all right.
So you get down there to sectionals, and there's 2 different sides, okay, north, south. So you get down there to sectionals, if I said that right, then top 4. So when we get to state, it's the top 16.
Okay.
Or the 12.
So how is your team organized? Like, you've already touched on some of it. You've got
ideally what you want is to have a varsity team, a junior varsity team, and even a freshman team. But again, the numbers are not there. So that being said, we're all one. Now, those that have proved themselves that week in and week out have wrestle-offs on Monday that they win it, hands down, they're the best guy in that weight class, they're a varsity. And then if it's back and forth in a certain weight class, and let's just say 106, 106 this Monday, this kid wins, and 106 next Monday, that kid wins. If it's back and forth, then when we go to whether it's a dual or individual, then we swap them out and we let them get even times, and we try to put both of them in a tournament. We try to get them as much mat time as we can. So you're talking about the organization of a team. Ideally, you want varsity, junior varsity, and a freshman. We just don't have those numbers. So we're going to put a varsity team together, which is top ones in 14 weight class, and everybody else is what they consider junior varsity. And we'll try to get them as much mat time as they can.
So that's how you determine who wrestles in the next match.
Every Monday we wrestle off, and whoever wins that weight class, that weight class is number 1 wrestler for that week's tournaments.
And you do it every Monday.
Every Monday.
So it keeps the competition. Yeah. What about you mentioned Central Carrollton and Heritage and Sonorville, which I guess Central would be the bell cow of the region.
Oh, ain't no doubt. As a team.
As a team. Yeah.
Like I think I can't remember how it wound up Central, and then it may have been Northwest, Heritage, or Sonorville. But anyway, they're the number 1 team out of our region, without a doubt.
And do they seed the tournament?
We will seed our region tournament Friday for this Saturday, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, 6:30. All the coaches, 6 coaches get together on a Zoom call, and we will go through 106 through 285, all 14 weight classes. Some of it's going to be real easy. Yeah, he's number 1. We know that. Yeah, and then, it is what it is. And then there'll be a few weight classes where they say, oh, whoa, now, hold on. We beat him head to head. Yeah, but I beat him over here. And so then you gotta figure all that out. But the easy part is there's 6 teams.
Right.
Some of these regions are doing this with a lot more teams and a lot more guys.
Yeah.
And so
So we're in 7 quad A.
We're Region 7, 4A classification.
Yes.
So we're a 4A classification school in Region 7.
So we've been touching on it the whole interview. How do you think this team stacks up against the others? I know you said you placed 6th in the
team.
Yeah, right. So this is individuals.
So when we go Saturday, out of and I said 14, there's 14 weight classes. I do not have a heavyweight this year, so I'm going to carry 13 guys up there. And I will be very disappointed if we don't get, and I'm going to say, half of that, which is 7.
Yeah.
And that's not a great number, but for a freshman group, if I can't get 7 to sectionals, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah. Well, you got to set your goals lofty, right?
Right. And I would say 7 or 8. We could possibly find a 9th one or 8th or 9th one, and we could possibly fail and not carry but 4 or 5.
So is it like single elimination?
Double elimination.
Double.
Yep.
Okay. So you got to get beat twice, and this is all on a Saturday.
Saturday, and it'll go fast.
Really?
6 teams, it'll go fast. We'll start wrestling 10 o'clock.
Well, how many matches would you have to win?
There's a good opportunity. You got to win one. Top 4 out of 6 guys.
Yeah.
I got to beat somebody.
Right.
If I beat somebody, then there's a good shot I can get a top 4.
Yeah.
If you win 2, it's pretty much you're in.
Right. Right.
So that sounds simple enough, but sometimes it gets difficult and hairy.
So and here we go again. Nothing's guaranteed.
Right.
Adam is, he's focused and he's got everything he needs to go to state, and we expect him to.
Exactly.
Nothing's guaranteed, though.
Right.
So I'm wondering, is there anybody else that you mentioned, the girl that won state last year?
Girl-wise, we expect Caitlin to go, as she should. She's a reigning state champion. We have our senior Leslie Bates, she's been wrestling longer than any girl there. Probably all of them combined. I think she's been wrestling since she's 7 years old. I probably got that wrong, but she's been wrestling quite a while.
Wow.
She has all the tools to go to Macon. We will see how she performs. We expect her to go. We expected her to go last year. Made a mistake and got caught and missed it by 1 position, and so there's a little determination for her to get there, so we're pushing her hard. And then we got some new girls that come on this year that, we're excited about the girls program. We look for it to grow, but we got some scrappy girls that, I'm not going to say, we probably got a good opportunity to send in 4 or 5 to state.
I've seen them out there, like during the breaks or when y'all getting wrestling, they're wrestling the boys. And
well, they practice with the boys. We all practice together, so GHSA says, we can still practice together.
Okay.
So nothing says they can't go out there in our practice room and they do daily.
Well,
have to grab a hold to a guy.
They don't waste no time. I mean, matter of fact,
they're not scared. So we're expecting to carry 4 or 5 girls down there and 5 guys. So we should have a 10 or 12.
How many girls do you have on the team now?
10.
You got 10 girls, and like you said, this is the first year where they're
a total girl team.
A total girl team.
All girls, nothing but girls. They can only wrestle girls. They're separate identity.
So do you have trouble finding other girls to wrestle your girls when you go to another school? Do they have the same?
Yeah, this year, of course, it's better this year than it was last year because you didn't have all girl teams last year. There were some, and our goal is to do what Carrollton has done in the girls' world. Is they're a 2-time state champion now as a girls team. We want to put a team together where we compete for
Central.
No, just as the city Carrollton. Not
City
Central
Carrollton. Oh, okay.
Carrollton.
Okay.
Carrollton Trojan.
Okay.
Last year they won. There wasn't a lot of teams out there. They won the state championship as a team. Came back this year and done it again. So our goal is to follow that and say, hey, we're good enough to do that. We have the athletes here to put that together to compete for a state championship. But then you flip it over to the guys, and as far off as some may think we are, the guys understand what our goal is. I mean, just because we're freshmen, the goals haven't changed. You can go in on our wall, man. Our goals are the same. It's to compete for state championship.
You know, and there's one thing I've noticed about your team. It's cohesive.
They're together.
They're always picking each other up.
They are.
You know,
which another reason why they're fun to watch, because they cheer for each other, they push each other's behind in the wrestling room, and they help each other.
Right.
So if they can hang around, which I hope they do, I mean, you know, they should. Should be fun to watch in the next couple of years.
So what's your greatest challenge as a coach?
Everything outside of wrestling.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, all the admin stuff, the scheduling, you know, the funding, you know, because wrestling's not cheap.
You're the head coach.
Everywhere you go, you know, there's a $350 bill due.
Yeah. Do you have a, like, I'm on the softball booster club. Do you have a booster club?
I have a school account that we have to fundraise for that, naturally. And then, of course, we do have a booster club, and we've stepped that up another notch this year. So we're not where we want to be, but we've made good strides this year, and we're in okay shape right now.
Well, you know,
our booster club works hard. Let me speak on them. Not gonna go into who, but they are key right now. My booster club president, vice president have worked their behinds off this year, where we didn't have to worry about where the next dollar was coming from.
That's good.
And so whatever we need, they hadn't questioned where it was going. I've tried to explain what I was needing,
right?
How much,
yeah,
and wrote the check, and it was done. So
that's good to have that support. I mean, because that takes a load off of you.
Man, it's
so
awesome.
You can coach.
Exactly.
You know, instead of worried about things like that. So we got reach and play coming up Saturday.
Right.
And well, actually Friday it starts with the girls.
Friday starts with girls. Guys go Saturday.
What time does it start with the girls Friday?
Well, they got to go all the way up to, couldn't find anywhere to have their term. They got to go all the way up to University of North Georgia Friday.
Oh, wow.
For their area. And area means every school doesn't have a team, so it's just a bigger area instead of a smaller region.
Even, do you mix up the classes too?
Yes.
Do you?
And so, but they'll go up there. They start wrestling, I think, at 3 p.m. on Friday. And so we'll leave Saturday morning 6:30, which is kind of a good sleep in for us on Saturday morning. We're normally gone by 5 or 5:30, but we'll leave here at 6:30 a.m. and I think wrestling starts at 10 a.m., maybe 9 a.m.
That's about an hour and a half.
Hour and 15-minute drive.
Yeah.
And again, it will go quick. I mean, I'll be surprised if we're there at 3 o'clock. It should.
Really?
Yeah, it will go real quick.
So.
And then the following weekend is what we call sections.
Yeah.
The girls will go then. The ones who make it through will go down to Harris County, which is kind of northeast from Columbus, about an hour and 45-minute drive from here. And the guys will turn around and go Saturday. They will go to Troup County down in LaGrange on Saturday. And then the following weekend, we'll leave out on Thursday morning, 7, 8 a.m., and head to Macon for state. We'll wrestle Thursday evening, Friday evening, Saturday morning.
For state. You know, Rockmart wrestled for state, was it last weekend or week before?
That was the duel. That was the team. Yes.
Okay, so that's the difference. And I was going to ask you about that. See, I was a little bit confused about dual and traditional because I'd never heard of it.
Right.
So dual is points, right?
Well, it's all points.
Yeah.
But it's team. Every individual on that team adds to the team score. I get points when I wrestle, or if I win. You get points when you wrestle. But that goes to a team score.
Okay.
And the team
so
as a whole, right.
So, but I was thinking, you know, I've always thought you pin somebody, you win.
Yeah.
You know, but that's not the case.
Well, you won. But Rockmart didn't win. All right? So as a team, when they scored, I add up all their points as individuals, what was their team score versus the other team?
Yeah.
And Rockmart's a great program. You know, we roll around. Coach Lindsay does a great job over there. They got some good wrestlers over there, and we know all of them. I mean, I see them in the grocery store and at Walmart. And
it's quite a tradition.
They've been going since way before I was in school.
Right.
I remember when we wrestled them in the 80s. I mean, they've always had a great program.
Yeah. I guess they grow them over there. Or something. I don't know. So we've already touched on the staff a little bit, but if you go ahead and just go through each coach again and what their responsibilities are?
At the varsity level, my assistant right now is Coach Joey Payton, is what they call a community or a lay coach. He's actually a Cedartown fireman, comes in here on his time and works with the kids.
He has a full-time job.
Yes.
As a fireman.
Yeah, he works a full-time job and comes in here and helps me. He's the instructor on the mat, as I said before. I got Rodney Smith, first-year teacher, first-year wrestling coach, which wrestled for me back in 2008, 2010. Going to be a great addition to us. And of course, that's the varsity guys. Varsity girls is Coach Brandon Gordon. The experience he brings to the table out of Chattooga County. He's actually coached the guys during that old stint of me and Coach Hartline coming and going. He was involved in some of that back then.
Okay.
So he's very familiar with Cedartown wrestling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then at the middle school, we got Coach Keith Murdoch and Coach Brandon Mitchell.
You got two coaches at middle
Coach
school.
Murdoch has been around for, I think this is his third year coaching wrestling for the middle school. First year as a head, but I think he's coached them 3 years. Coach Mitchell being the first year. And then again, Coach Tara Kerpetcher, which is her first year in wrestling as a female, going to be the assistant there to work with the female side, because we subject that the females at the middle school level will be separated next year. So we'll go ahead and getting ready for that. And again, we're looking for what? Female assistant
coach. Assistant coach. So I appreciate it, Coach. It's been a good interview. Do you have any parting thoughts you'd like to leave?
I mean, it's Cedartown sports. I'm very passionate about Cedartown sports. That's why I'm still around. I love the kids. They keep me, young and energetic, keep me moving. I appreciate the community helping us because we could not do it without you guys and your donations and your support. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I would like to say you can take a breath. We're done, but spring sports is coming. So it's a 365-day-a-year donation, but we do appreciate it. We know where it comes from. And so, but you come out and support these guys. Let them know you're here to back them and support them and help them any way you can. They're fun to watch as a wrestling group. And again, I'm gonna be around to watch them grow because they're fun. They're enjoyable. So
I tell you, it's a lot of fun. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Just like I said, some of those matches where you feel like I don't know, and then they come back and win it. It's so exhilarating. And these are great teenagers. They work hard at what they do. They're motivated. They're driven to win, and I can't wait to see them Saturday.
I failed to do so, but I want to do it now because I say it. The community and their donations is the only way we can do this. It really stems from, we all know the district and what they, help us do and what they allow us to do. So. Polk School District and allowing us to start that program up back in 2007, and then the huge support that they give us, and allowing us to go. They don't ever question where we're going. They say, we fill out field trip requests, buses. Hey, where are you going? We're gonna get you there. We're gonna get you back home safely. So we're appreciative of that as well. Thank you, Polk School District, and everybody involved. And transporting and allowing and supporting and financially supporting all these sports at Cedartown High School.
Well, on behalf of everyone you just spoke to, thank you, Coach.
I appreciate you.
For all the time that you put into it. And
we look forward to the future.
Looking forward, next year.
Yes, sir.
I'll catch y'all a little bit sooner next year. I got caught in the middle of the season this year, but we'll get started a little bit earlier next year.
We look forward to it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. This is Sgt Dawg. I hope you have enjoyed the interview with wrestling head coach Jeff Collier. This is the second interview in a series to follow. The Polk County School District is blessed with an abundance of talented coaches, student athletes, and students. The interviews are intended to help you understand what drives them to be their best, to hear what their needs are, their aspirations, their goals. Secondly, the interviews are intended to generate support for those aforementioned coaches, student athletes, and students in Polk County. It requires a community to support the system and all those within it. The dedicated professionals that oversee the school system, along with all the teachers and employees, work hard to serve and teach the young citizens of Polk County. The community support is critical to the success of the programs and the school system as a whole. Stay tuned for more interviews to follow. I want to thank you for watching. Sgt Dawg out.